Hi, and welcome to Ginny's Garden Path. Come on down the garden path with me, and we will see if we can find the missing piece to your gardening endeavors. Okay, today I wanted to talk about ways to water your garden. One of the ways that you've probably seen in large operations is ditch irrigation. Some places you have the opportunity to buy water shares, and you're given a schedule, and the water comes by your property, and you pull a metal gate at your appointed time. It allows the water to flow in. You just have ditches between the rows of your plants, and it gives a deep irrigation. A lot of times you only get the water every 7 to 12 days, but it does a very nice deep irrigation, and it's often all that you need. The downside of it is that sometimes you get weed seeds that will come in with the water to your garden, which can be not so great. The other downside is that sometimes your schedule means that you're getting up in the middle of the night to take your turn. The next kind is doing it by hand. You can hand water with a hose and a spray tip on the end, or you can attach your hose to something like this and just water the amount of time that you need. The downside of that one is that you have to remember to water, and you have to remember to turn off the water. And also, when you're watering overhead, if you're in a moist area, it can encourage some kinds of funguses and stuff on your plants, which can be not so great. If you're in a very dry area or a windy area, sometimes the water is going where you don't want it. It's also, as far as the amount of water used, is not a highly effective way to water, just because the water is going up in the air and you've got a fair amount of evaporation. So those are not the greatest ways. The next kind is drip irrigation, and that is a highly effective way. It's attached by underground pipes. It's attached to a timer. You can set the different zones in your yard to water at different times for different lengths of time. Also, if it rains, it can be put on rain delay. Some of them will even do it automatically. This is an example here of it. We have pipes that come up in each bed, and then it attaches to this 1/2-inch tubing. You can cut it and design it, put it together, kind of a bit like Legos, however you need. These pipes here, you can put drippers on that can be anywhere from a 1/2 gallon to several gallons. If it's around trees, they can go up 7-14 gallons, whatever, per hour. And the only downside here, as you can see, is that if you have hard water, sometimes they get lined up and don't want to drip. So you have to watch that. We also have some 1/4-inch tubing that is a lot more moldable. It'll go around plants, especially in flower beds and stuff. And they have inline drippers that are already built into them, 1 foot apart or 6 inches apart, whatever that you need. Some of them you can even cut it, and there's a little inline dripper that you can put in and put them in at your own designed spacing. So this works very well. It puts the water right down in the root zones, and so it uses a lot less water than, say, a big sprinkler that is just watering everywhere. It also means that you don't have to water your walkways, so you're not encouraging weeds. Another one, let's go up and take a look at the water barrel here. A great way to get some free water and fairly clean water is off of your roof. It comes down through your downspout, attaches by a hose to a water barrel, and there's lots of different styles of water barrels. How these water barrels work is they are attached by a hose over to the downspout, and the water comes down. There's a connection from this tube that goes into the downspout, and it's kind of like a cup that catches the water, but it doesn't fill the whole downspout. So what it does is catches the water comes along the tube, fills up the water barrel, and in this case I have this barrel attached to another barrel. It'll fill up the two barrels, and then when they're full, the water will flow back through the tube at that level and spill over the cup thing in the downspout and continue on its way like it usually does. What this does is make sure that it doesn't overflow and flood your foundation of your house. These particular ones also have a screen in the top that makes sure that there's no mosquitoes being able to get in or debris, and so it keeps and they are black so that algae doesn't grow in the barrels. And you can attach a hose to it. You want to put it up high enough so that you can get some flow down. These are even able to be attached to those drip systems. They're not on a timer, but you can turn them on and just have the water slowly going down to the root zones of your plants. Some people are concerned about water coming down across, say, asphalt shingles. If you have torrential rains, they're more likely to wash the rocks and stuff off of your roof. If you don't usually have really hard rains, it's really not a problem. And the other advantage to this is if you're like at our house, you have a spigot at the front of the house and a spigot at the back. And if you've got any kind of a size of yard, you're hauling the hose around to the sides to be able to have water. Whereas if you have your barrels, like I've got one here and one right behind it, this allows me to have water access to the whole side of the yard. And what you can do is you can use your drip system to water less frequently, but for longer and deeper. And then if you happen to have a little area that needs a little extra water, or a plant that's struggling a bit, you can just use your water barrel to give it a little extra water. It's nice to be able to have something to, clean tools and stuff when you're working in the yard. So if you do have some decent rain, they are great. Here in the West, where sometimes our summers are very dry, they'll fill up in the spring, and you can use them, as long as it lasts in the heat of the summer. Now what I do is, just because of the convenience of it, is if I don't have enough rain, I'll add some water to it with the hose, but that means just dragging the hose once, filling this up, and then I have it wherever I need it around the yard. The last kind of watering system that I wanted to show you, and I'll show you in two different places here. We'll go up the hill here too. I've got some herbs that are quite drought tolerant, but they do need some water. So I'll show you what an Oya is. The Central and Southern South American indigenous people have used Oyas for thousands of years. They would make unglazed clay terracotta pots, and they would be round and then go up and have a long neck. They would bury those and fill them with water, and then plant around them, and the roots of the plant will grow right around the pot, because an unglazed terracotta pot, if you wet the soil around the outside of it then and fill it with water, as the soil dries, the pot lets the water out through its walls, and it has to be unglazed. And so I've kind of adapted that, because one of those bottles to buy these days are about $60 or more. And so I just went to the local home improvement store and found, I'll pull one, these pots. These don't have any hole in them, but I've got some bigger ones that have holes, and I've just plugged the hole in the bottom, and you just bury it and fill it. And my herbs and this is early in the spring, so they're just getting started, but these plants have been in for a couple of years, and as you can see, my thyme is growing beautifully, and I'll just put the lid on that. I had it off because we had some rain, so I was just letting the rain fill up the pots a bit, and I'll just take the water from my water barrel and come along and fill these. They have no drip system, no other thing attached to them. I'll show you some bigger ones that I use with my tomatoes. So come with me this way. As you can see, we've had some cold weather in the last couple of days. So my tomatoes are growing inside this wall of water. You can see this little guy's been in for about a month and is growing quite nicely. And there is a drip system that goes to these. But I also have these terracotta pots. Now these are bigger. I use the orchid pots from Lowe's. They're a little more wide than shallow, or than deep. Put a cork in the bottom of it and put it at least about 4 inches from the tomato plant, and the tomato plant will continue to grow its roots around that pot and grab the water. These Oyas use about 1/10 of the amount of water that you use even from a drip system, but it's used very, very efficiently by the plants. And what this does for my tomato plants is keeps a continuous, very even supply of moisture to the plants, and so I experience less blossom end rot. So the other thing about watering is mulch is your friend. In most places, unless you're in a very wet area, and especially here in Utah, it's very hot in the summertime, and so a layer of 2 to 4 inches of mulch over the soil all around the plant will help hold the moisture in and allow the plant to be able to use it. So those are my ideas on great ways to water your plant. So thanks for listening.